Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm going to be going through an unboxing for my latest upgrade for Panzer. Now, this is something I've been wanting to do, and probably one of the parts or components that I have not replaced or changed. We're going to unbox this YellowSpeed Racing caliper kit for the W211 E55 AMG, and we're going to go over the details on what it comes with. All right, now if you kind of already figured, I've kind of opened these up just to inspect them when I picked them up at Patterson's Performance. Now, the reason why I went through this setup is I'm trying to go and swap out everything originally that's factory to something more aftermarket, more custom. And thanks to YellowSpeed Performance, our YellowSpeed Racing, I'm able to do so. And I went with a full caliper redone or a full brake system upgrade, so you will. I went with a 365 rotors for the front and a 356 rotors for the rear. And yes, the rears have gone a little bit bigger, and I'll explain more in detail as far as what this kit includes. Let's go ahead and unbox the rear, and I'm going to go backwards on this. So pretty much if you order a kit, this is exactly how you're going to receive it. One thing I do admire with YellowSpeed is the way how they package and box everything. Everything is pretty much like if they play Tetris every day. So as you can see right here, you already know what these are. These are the actual rotors themselves, the 356 millimeter. And let's go ahead and, you know what, let's go ahead and just take these out. But just to give you an idea, this is the whole boxing. Now, as you can tell, this is one of the calipers. And as you guessed it, if you could read, 6-pot and the color. And yes, I went with 6-pot on the rear, so the 4-pot is being upgraded to a 6. Now, there's not really no need, but again, I'm going for more custom, more uniqueness, and something that pretty much stands out. All right, this is definitely not stock, yada, yada, yada. You guys heard me before in the videos and the other videos repeating that. So let's go ahead and just take it out. Look how nice and packed everything is. Pack these up pretty good. We're going to go ahead and just take everything out. Now, one thing I could appreciate is how light these are. I'm going to have to use both hands on this one. Now, here's the rear set. We have 356 for the rear with 6-pot calipers, YellowSpeed calipers. Let's go ahead and go through the rotors. Now, this setup is going to give me two advantages. It's going to cut my weight dramatically, and I will say a good amount, and not just by a measly amount, because we all know the E55 calipers and rotors, especially the fronts, are heavy to a degree. There's a lot of weight on just that wheel hub assembly alone because of that single cast rotor and that caliper. This is going to pretty much help me reduce on weight, rotational mass, if anything, and strain in the front, which is going to feel a little bit lighter. Well, I'm assuming it's going to feel a little bit lighter, and I'm looking forward to actually drive it and get a little bit more in depth in that. But let's continue on. Everything's nicely packaged, and as you can see, this kit itself actually comes with stainless steel lines, and these are actually pretty clean. These are nice looking. They even come with a little hardware and a little tools for them. That's actually pretty good. Ultra Grand Big Brake Kit System. Instructions. I'm going to save that. Now, I am not going to be installing these for two reasons. A little bit embarrassed to say, but I did get a notice of lease violation notice from my apartment complex, and I am no longer allowed to work on any vehicles. I already paid a fine for what I was doing, which is pretty much something that's not allowed. It's frowned upon here, which kind of sucks. But you know, I understand to a degree. You know, I understand policy and everything like that. So I'm not going to be all. I'm upset about it, but I'm not going to be that upset because you know there's certain rules that you got to follow, and you know you got to respect those rules, especially when you don't own the property. So that's perfectly fine. Now, the main concept of this is I'm going to have Patterson Performance install this brake kit for me, and I'm actually going to look forward to that because they're going to be doing a video for me on that, and I don't have to be on the ground, which is going to be awesome because I don't want to damage this kit in any way, shape, or form. So let's move this aside. So here is my first, these are the rears, a reminder. And yes, they are two-piece. Very beautiful. And they're high carbon as well. Now what that means is they're not a full carbon rotor, but they have a higher composite of carbon in the steel material, or formula, so you will. So these are similar to the ones I have currently on my car. They're 3500 high carbon, no, 3550 high carbon composite. So the actual carbon in the steel is higher, so it helps with wear, durability, heat dissipation, and any fade or friction from deformities like, you know, lips, or just pretty much just, it reduces the wear. Let's just put it like that. But these are actually pretty good. This coating right here is anodized as well, so it's relatively good, and I know this will last a good amount of time. Very good hardware as far as the materials. They're not shiny for a good reason. They're specially coated, galvanized in a sense. I forgot the term used for it, but it's similar to the manufacturers. They're less likely to corrode and get all weathered to a point where they're rusted. So this is actually pretty good. They're similar to the ones that come off the Mercedes suspension bolts. You know how when you remove them, there's hardly any rust. There's hardly any, they're a little weathered for the most part, but you know, there's no rust, there's no seizing. That's actually pretty good. I like that they're using that factory aspect of it. So that's actually a plus. You know what, let's take it out of here. Now that looks nice, and this is the rear. This almost looks like the front, if you would think of it in that perspective. This is pretty crazy. The rears are actually smaller, but these are actually going to be pretty massive for the rear. Now, they did say they will fit due to the bracketing, and I do have 19-inch wheels, so if you do get something this size in the rear, 6-pot, you will need a 19-inch wheel or more. I think 18 is pushing it, but 19, and these should fit just fine, and they fill in that 19-inch wheel good, so that's actually going to look adequately nice. Now, I'm not going to take out the other one, but look at this. Their packaging is adequate all the way through. Foam padding in between. Box is really, really good material. It's very thick, too, so it'll handle the weight of the rotor. So this is actually pretty nice. I'm going to put this back in here real quick. I'm going to save this for now. Now, I'm pretty sure this small box right here is the hardware kit. We're going to go ahead and open it real quick. If I can figure out how. I know there's a way to do this. There we go. Very, very solid packaging here. Nice. Yep, this is the hardware kit. This is the bolts for the calipers. Now, the benefit of this hardware here is it's dacrytized, and it's same as pretty much the same thing when you buy OEM bolts from Mercedes. It's exactly the same thing. And pretty much are. They have the same specifications, same coating on them, and they're less likely to rust, corrode, or seize on you, which is awesome because they're just going to be similar to the factory bolts, which is great because the factory Mercedes bolts are ideal for anything because they come off relatively smooth and easy on calipers, on the suspension, control arm assembly. They're all pretty good. So that I'm glad they didn't go with any type of shiny or chromed or plated or anything like that, because those are the worst in my opinion. But these are adequate. Same to manufacturer OEM spec, and I appreciate them for doing something like this. So here's some more hardware as well. Really good stuff. Nice. It actually comes with its own Loctite. That's great. And then of course, bracketing. So let's go ahead and open this real quick. Now here's the bracketing for the new caliper set. Relatively good CNC machine aluminum. Very, very good and sturdy. And the anodized coating is impeccable. It's actually perfect too. And you can still see some of the CNC lines. I'm not sure if you can catch that, but you can see some of the etching still there, which is pretty nice. These are pretty good. I'm feeling really confident with everything so far. Now, last but not least, the rear calipers. And it's funny how I started out rear. 6-pot. Very good packaging again. Look at that. And yes, I had to go gold. I know a lot of you don't like it. But I'm building this to my liking and to my vision. but I respect your guys' opinions. That's the beauty of free will. We all have the decision to make our own decisions on choosing on what we want. And the benefit to that is we can't control others or tell them what to do. All right, and here we are. This is the 6-pot rears for my car. And yes, of course, I had to have Panzer engraved, thanks to Donald for mentioning that to me. I would have not even asked, but he's the one who pretty much brought this up to my attention and something that I can do. And it looks astonishing. These are beautiful. Now, these are similar in size to, well, not similar in size. They do have, there's not too much going on the ends. They kind of shorten that off for material savings, weight savings, and it's unnecessary. When you have only, this actually looks really good. So this is proper. This is a true 6-piston as far as its size. It's similar as far as from here to the 6-pot that's in the SLK55, minus, you know, the extra bit that comes with it. And of course, I have the yellow pads as well. Good for performance, and it's going to be adequate for this setup and for the car too. Not that I'm going to be punishing it like that. Rotor must be rotated at the direction of this arrow while installation. It is in accordance with the direction with the car is moving forward. This is to ensure brake pads are embedded evenly. Cool. I like how they have special instructions all the way through. I love the material and the metals that they use. These right here, these bolts are similar to factory, like I mentioned, so they're less likely to corrode. And the ones that are all shiny, and they tend to just fade and they just get all nasty. I've had those, and I'm so happy they didn't use this in this kit. Even though it would look nice at the very beginning, these are very adequate for the application. So I'm excited. These are the rears, and we still have the fronts, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go ahead and continue. All right, now we're going to go ahead and remove the fronts. Now it's pretty much the same thing. I don't want to bore you with another unboxing pretty much of me doing the same thing I did earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you real quick the layout. It's no different, except these are the 365 millimeter. Now I could have gone with 390, but I just stayed with 365. I'm going to take all these out and lay them right next to, minus the calipers. Here's the front calipers. I went ahead and took out the rotors for the fronts. These are 365 and we got 356. Very minuscule difference, but you can tell. And here are the calipers. They're more bigger. That's not even a correct word to say it. They are bigger in size because these are the 8-pot. And I was very happy they had an 8-pot. Let me go ahead and take them out of this bag. Now here is the front calipers. And you can tell the difference right away from the two in sizes, especially on the pads. Now this does come with a full kit, so I didn't just get one on each side. But these are actually here for the front and rear rotors. So this is actually going to be really nice. Now in size comparison, I am going to do a weight so you can get an idea what these weigh for the fronts as opposed to the factory. I know the factory ones are heavy. When I picked this up, this thing was really, really light for obvious reasons, it being a 2-piece with just this center mounting plate here, which eliminates that center mass of all that steel single cast for the factory ones that I have on currently. Even though they're high carbon, they are heavy as hell. I have to admire this fin design is a little different from what I'm normally used to seeing. They're actually bezeled in and smoothed out at the end here versus just having a rounded curve. They're more thinner and sharper. Kind of looks like blades. Very adequate, very clean rear rotor. Very good quality. This is a very good cast. Same from the high carbon ones that I have on my car currently, just with less of a center mass. So these are going to be really good. I can already tell. and the decretized hardware as well. This is awesome. This is good quality. This is good money. Good money well spent. Here's the rear of the 8-piston. As you can see, it's kind of a similar design as the 6-piston that I have for the rears, but the hardware is actually in the rear of it. The front's relatively clean, and I took one of the pads out so you can see the inside. Now this is obviously facing up, and as you can see at the very beginning, the first piston is larger, and it continues to these two being the same and this one being smaller. Now, what I've been told is its design is supposed to help with a better grip at the very beginning and then transition all the way through the entire length of the pad, which is right over there. Now this finish is awesome. This anodized gold. Now this is going to match my East Coast Euro and my UPD gold anodized pulleys and motor mounts. So it's going to show nice appreciation for aftermarket parts, and they pop more. So people can know that, you know, this vehicle is modded to an extent. There's not just, you know, it's not just wheels and suspension. There's a lot more involved into this. Well, I don't really like to say build because a lot of people use that term, and the way they say it, it just kind of puts it just sounds cringy. But as far as for my setup, it's gonna be really, really well done in my eyes. And then this pretty much is your front 8-piston here. The weight is a huge difference. I won't be able to do this with my factory ones. One finger I can lift. The factory ones are way, way heavier, and let's not mention the rotor itself. But you know what? Let's go ahead and weigh these out so you guys can get an idea. Now I went ahead and have my weight scale here. We're going to put the full front 8-piston with pads on. We're averaging right here 10 pounds for this front 8-piston caliper. Now with the actual adapter, bracket, caliper, pads, and rotor, we are going to be averaging out here at 34.2 pounds for this massive 365 8-piston caliper with pads and this aluminum bracket adapter for this current setup. We all know that the front E55 stock rotors, calipers, and pads all together there's going to be a huge marginal differences between the two. I would like to say this is probably like a good reduction as far as a little bit more than half of what that total weight is. But I'm going to try to get, when I get everything off, I'm going to go ahead and do a measurement in the future. Again, you can follow me on Instagram, Panzer_W211. I pretty much update that more than what I do my YouTube, and it's more accurate as far as time frames. So if you follow me there, you will see a difference here as far as from the weights from the fronts. Now this is mainly the fronts, which is the most important part because that's the heaviest part. So I already have the Rohana RF2s with already those lighter wheels, and this is going to complement it even more, lighting up the front and less rotational mass, so to speak. And this is going to be awesome. This is going to be great. Now for the rear 6-pistons, it's relatively the same type of layout. Obviously a different casing design, but as far as for the pistons, it's relatively the same. You got a larger piston, and then it gradually decreases in size as it goes down. And again, it's the same concept, directional. Go ahead and grab this one and weigh it with the bracket and the rear rotors themselves, so we can get a concept from the front and the rear, and then we'll go ahead and compare them when I take off the actual OEM equipment. Now with the 6-pistons rear, we're going to be averaging at 33.2 after multiple reattempts, but 33.2 for the rear section. I already tell how much weight I'm going to be saving with this whole set, and I'm looking forward to Patterson actually installing it for me. Saves me the time and effort, but look at that, it looks amazing. Well, this is the unboxing for Panzer's front and rear calipers from Yellow Speed Racing. This is Panzer. You guys take it easy.